Thanks for joining us today. Our company is thrilled to take this opportunity to tell you about who we are and what we do. Scribbles software offers K12 solutions which enable and empower students and families to manage their educational experience. Scribbles software has been serving the K12 market since 2010 and currently assists over 260 school districts in 25 states in creating a student life cycle that promotes positive, empowered, and cost-effective solutions. Scribbles software is in use currently for 7.5 million students and securely maintains and provides access to 26 million student transcripts, representing over 11,000 schools. Each year, Scribbles assists schools in generating revenue and reducing operating costs. Our student life cycle consists of Scrib Enroll, which is our online student enrollment application, Scrib Choice, which offers online application and lottery management for student choice, magnet, and program placement. K12 Transfer allows the secure process of transfer students between K12 districts. Scrib Order is everyone's favorite online student records request and payment solution. Scrib Online is our K12 online document management system. And we also offer scanning services and data conversion services. Today we're going to introduce you to districts all over the United States that use Scribbles and hear what they have to say. We have compiled some highlights from our webinars that will give you a sense of who Scribbles is as a company and why school districts benefit when they partner with us. You will hear from Clark County Schools in Nevada, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools in North Carolina, Prince George's Public Schools in Maryland, Columbus City Schools in Ohio, and we'll start off with our friends from Harnett County Schools here in North Carolina.
Awesome. Well, my name is Jermaine White. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services for our school district. I've been in that role now for about a year. My predecessor retired and left a big footprint for me to walk in. And so taking on that challenge has definitely been something that has excited me from day one. But I love students. I love the work that we do for our students and student support services. And so it's just amazing to be a part of the team that we have. Student support services for Harnett County Schools consists of our counselors, our social workers, our school nurses, our success coaches, which are also our dropout prevention coaches, and a number of other itinerant staff. Our homebound teachers are part of student support services, and we have some other specialized positions that work with us as well. As far as our school district is concerned, we're a school district of about 20,600 students located in the Sand Hills area of North Carolina. And so we're south of Fayetteville, right next door, south of Raleigh, right next door to Fayetteville, and we're surrounded actually by 9 counties, our school district is. And so we're a pretty large county from a landmass perspective, and our student enrollment continues to grow.
Wow.
A suite of the Scrib products. And so we use Scrib Choice, we use K12 Transfer, we use Scrib Order, we use a lot of the scanning services that are affiliated with the company. And in a couple of weeks, we'll transition to Scrib Enroll for our district, which is something that we were working on prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. But because of the urgency of the time, we're actually going to transition to online enrollment a bit quicker than we anticipated. Our team is using them remotely because all of my directors and supervisors have access, and so therefore we kind of are accountable to each other to make sure that our transcripts are still being processed. We can communicate with our registrars at the schools via email to make sure that those things are still running for us. Anything that we're doing with regards to our Scrib Enroll process, which again, I really do appreciate the customer service that comes from Scribbles because we've been able to really facilitate all of this remotely. And so we haven't had to have any face-to-face meetings. We haven't had to do any of that in order to be able to set up our online enrollment process. And then everything else that we do, we kind of have a little bit of a chain as far as who does what in our department. But everybody's doing it from home. And if we have an opportunity to be able to get together, we do it again using the online services such as Zoom and Google Meet if we have any questions. We've directed, because of the customization of the product, we can certainly direct parents to, if they have any questions, be able to communicate with us via email or any lines that we've designated to be able to use at home to call us. And so just the flexibility of use as far as all the products that we have has been truly amazing. I tell this story a lot. Prior to us transitioning to Scribbles, for example, we started using the Scrib order process first, which was really kind of our draw to the organization. And because that worked so well for us, being able to automate that process, we said, well, why can't we look at doing, for example, reassignments and releases? Because reassignments and releases up until last school year were being done by hand. And so anybody who, processes reassignments and releases for their school district, we were processing up to 3,000, 3,500 releases and reassignments every year by hand. And that can be very tedious, takes a lot of manpower to be able to do that. And so by automating that process last year, we've saved so much work in being able to get that done. Our parents are able to get responses within 24 hours versus where it would take a few weeks for us to be able to do that before. And I actually got an email from one of my staff members during the break who actually talked about being thankful that we've actually gone to the Scribbles product for our releases and our reassignments, just simply because of the time that it would save. In the era that we're in now, you're mailing things, you're putting things out for people to come pick up. People are a little bit apprehensive about doing that. And so being able to complete these tasks electronically have helped us tremendously. And we get a lot of comments from parents who have been with us for years that say, we really do appreciate you all automating your processes. It makes a lot of things easy for us. We're a high military populated community. And so our military parents that have to come in and, for example, we have to request transcripts from their schools, or their schools have to get information from us. We're able to use the program to be able to facilitate that as well. And I can't tell you how much time that's saved us to be able to process things that way. And so I'm an advocate for everything that you all do. I don't want to sound like an infomercial by any means, but it's just one of those things where I really do believe in the product because of what it has saved us from a time perspective, and the ease of use and the things that we're going to be able to do for the upcoming school year are going to be amazing and again, help us tremendously. I think at this point, you can't be afraid to look to what the future may look like as far as your district is concerned. We did have some conversations with other districts around us that were already involved in the Scrib order process before we actually kind of delved into it, just to kind of do our due diligence. But I think you definitely want to reach out to those that have the program so that you can find out if it's going to work for you. I think everybody's situations are unique, but what I like about the platform is that it can be customized to wherever you are. Which is similar to what we do for our students. We try to meet them where they are and take them to the next level. I found that same sort of conversation happening when I talked to, now Tommy's my man. So I talk to Tommy a lot. And so when I talk to Tommy, Tommy's very transparent in saying, for example, hey, so-and-so county is doing this, or so-and-so county is doing that. Let me kind of show you this. And it's just been amazing to be able to see the other counties, the other districts around the country that are using the product and making it do what they needed to do for them. And so I would certainly say, reach out to somebody who's using it. If you reach out to me, for example, I'll respond to you within 24 hours, whether it's a phone call or email, whether I have 100 or 1,000, I'll respond to them all within 24 hours. If you want to know about Scribbles and how it's helped us, and, I don't necessarily say take my word for it. I can also allow you to be able to talk to members of my team who work with it on a daily basis to be able to get their insight as well, because I think you'll find that we're very consistent with regards to where we are. From a transparency perspective, there are a lot of things that we can certainly do better. It's been trial and error for us in a lot of ways to be able to see if this fits or that fits. And so I can just pick up the phone and call Tommy, for example, and say, hey, Tommy, I thought this was going to work for us, but we're just not ready to do this right now. He says, no problem, Mr. White, we'll get this fixed for you. We'll make the adjustment and go from there. And so if you're looking for something to be able to take your district to the next level with regards to these automated processes and products that Scribbles offers, I would suggest that you definitely do your due diligence and talk to those who are actually implementing the processes, and I think you'll be pleased.
Over the development of the program's time over the past 20 years, I like to call it society has moved along and schooling has not kept up with the same pace. And I know we all understand that. So being able to accommodate the needs of families and is critical to us in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. We recognize not all of our families are able to access education easily, being in a county that is as large as Mecklenburg County. Many of our families have difficulty with transportation, language access, and just being able to get correct information on how to apply for a program that's going to meet the needs of their child. Currently, the model is if a family wants to access pre-K services through the school district, they have to come to a single facility by appointment only and have all of the required documentation with them on the day of their appointment. If they miss their appointment or they arrive without the appropriate documentation, it can take them 6 to 8 weeks to get another appointment, to be seen, to be for their child, to be screened, to be considered for a finite number of slots we have in our program. And we have just under 4,800 seats available in our programs. So we obviously screen more than we can actually place. So having a mechanism to being able to handle all the volume that comes with each family and to serve them in a timely manner is on a good day a difficult thing. So about 7 months ago, we kind of embarked on looking at what options do we have to kind of update what goes on in our department and how to meet the needs of our families a little more. And that's when we came across, Scribbles and the Scribble and Roll software. So what we're able to do now with our online application is manage the documents effectively and efficiently so that we can get children into a seat in one of our programs in a more timely fashion and provide a better access point for our parents who may not have the transportation or the ability to make a particular appointment time in our facility. And the software has given us the ability to do that.
Yeah, and especially at this kind of, at this time with everything happening where you really are not encouraging people to come into an office and
absolutely
and share pens and clipboards and stuff like that.
Yes, and we were very fortunate in our rollout of this. The timing was almost perfect. When we rolled this out, our initial rollout time was in May, and as we saw that we were going to be dealing with some challenges here, we accelerated our timeline, and you guys were great to be able to work with us and our project management to get that done over a month ahead of time. And so we began the implementation almost at the same time that our schools began shutting down for the COVID. So one of the things it's allowed us to do is keep moving. We have not missed a beat as far as screening our kids or being able to put our kids into the system for placement in schools for our upcoming 2020 office. However, this has just become a very natural option for folks. And I really do think doing this, it's more than just paperwork, and these are some of my thoughts for some other questions, but it's more than just paperwork. We're providing access for our families who struggle with access. And our facility, while it's located in the southern part of the county, we serve families that may be 30 miles away as far as diameter of the county. And so it's very difficult for families who don't have transportation just to get to our facility. Mm-hmm. So by doing this, we are automatically increasing the possibility that a child will have access to pre-K services. Yeah, actually, I think one of the biggest things we've did not see coming was how dated our processes are. Look, when you actually have to sit down and use a technology like this, it really makes you look at the other things you're doing in our department. And when I say our dated processes, I don't mean just our screening portion and document management we're talking about here. Our department provides other services to the school level, and we've really been looking at this product as kind of a springboard to examine the other functions we do within our department, and how this model could apply to what those folks are doing. And so we went into this thinking one thing: this was just going to be for managing documents. And now this has really turned ourselves to looking at how we just do business, and all of this coming into alignment with COVID-19 and not knowing when we were going to return to school buildings, and how do we still function and do all of the back end things that we have to do just to make school function, even though we're physically not in the space. This has given us an opportunity to think about it in a different way, and that's been a nice surprise. And probably the other thing I'll say is the biggest surprise is how fast we were able to get up and running with this product. We use a lot of products from a lot of different vendors, and some of them are more challenging than others. But this process has been so seamless and quick to go. It really has almost, well, again, our two folks that have been leading this run itself. The folks on your end are so well organized and are able to anticipate what we're going to ask and how we're going to ask it, and how do you apply it to our model of business, and thinking what needs to change. That's really been a surprise for something to move so quickly in what we do every day.
Okay, so now I'm going to tell you a little story about a little office with a little bitty staff. Once upon a time, there was a little office called the microfilming office, and schools hand-delivered records to the little office with the little staff. The little staff had to scan and index millions of records each year. And retrieving the records was difficult since the little staff used several different repositories, including microfiche and microfilm, that they could barely read. Take the next slide. The little staff had 3 employees, and it took several days to complete scanning and indexing for each graduate class. As each member retired or left the office, they took most of their collective knowledge with them. The little office was very, very busy, filling record requests and transcript requests, and there was never an appointment needed, and people kept lining up from early morning to late at the evening. Each day, the little staff could no longer keep up with the scanning and the indexing. Next slide, thank you. So next slide. So this was, the next slide is a copy of our workflow for our formal process for archiving records. As you can see, it's fairly convoluted with a lot of steps, and everyone had to do a lot in each step.
Oh.
So this is the workflow process for, if you back up just one slide, and this is just a workflow process for issuing transcripts. And as you can see, there are even more steps for a little staff, and it was a lot. So some of our challenges, there were a lot of challenges, but here are just some of the biggest challenges we had. We had outdated equipment and outdated technology. We were really living in the Stone Age. It was difficult to find records as staff had to look in boxes and microfiche, microfilm, data tape, archaic record repositories, and if all else failed, the little office called schools and hoped that they had maintained their records and not actually destroyed them like they were supposed to. So many of our records were missing. It took what seemed like 1 million years to process a record for archiving. And our customers were very, 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 very unhappy. So the new staff was left to figure out everything on their own because, again, our little staff decided to retire and they went on to do other things than And so all of our new staff that came in, they were having a difficult time. And then they were moved to our office because they were a standalone office under IT, and they became part of our office. So we became the Office of Student Records and Transfers and Archival Services. And student records and transfers had less knowledge about the little office and the little staff than the little staff had. So the little office did not have the time or the staff to conduct the quality assurance checks consistently. Schools took a really long time to prepare records for archival too. And since most of this former staff retired, the new staff came and went with frequency. There were no standard operating procedures for documented anywhere. So what do we do now? So we partnered with Scribbles in 2016. Our department uses several integration solutions: Scrib Order, Scribble Online, their conversion services as well. Our school system, another office, uses Scrib Choice. And we're getting ready to deploy several other integration solutions, which is K12 transfers, which supports school-to-school record request, and our online registration process, which I know many of you are probably using right now. Record requests are now captured through Scribble Online, and all of our repositories were converted to a cloud-based platform. Our office created a standard operating procedures for record archival as well. Okay. And I just wanted to say Scribbles has become our lifeline. We outsource the scanning and the indexing. Our little staff in our little office is no longer doing that. We increased our performance capacity tenfold. Our team members now can process up to 200 record requests. Scribbles provides us with ongoing support. I mean, they're just fabulous. You're just fabulous. And Scribbles passed our IT security audit with flying colors, so we don't worry about privacy or security issues. The data reports and the audit trails make our work so much easier. We can now find things. And that's the end of the story about the little office that realized they really could, and they really did.
Gail, just so you know, there's been a request to actually create the book.
Okay.
The little office.
One of the things that we do for the, we have, our next steps are transitioning to a fully automated system and going completely paperless. We hope to do so in the next 2 to 3 years. As we grow our partnership with Scribbles and we introduce new technologies to manage student records in Prince George's County Public Schools.
Sure. Well, good afternoon. I'm Tanya Freeman, and I have Bonnie Durr, the records specialist extraordinaire for Columbus City Schools, with me. Columbus City Schools has over 50,000 students enrolled into about 109 schools. Each of those school buildings, as you know, would have many student cumulative records. And several years ago, I had the opportunity to form a committee to work on documentation for handling student records. It was a bit overwhelming. It was a new position for me. And so we started by forming the committee and gathering many secretaries from the buildings to see what they were doing with the records. And speaking with each of the secretaries, it was very obvious that people were keeping the documents that were required by law, but everyone in each of our buildings was doing it a little bit different and organizing their records a little bit different and handling record requests a little bit different. So we needed a way to make it uniform for all 109 buildings. So the first thing with all of the records that I looked at was we needed a way to easily retrieve the records and provide the records for the record requests. So we started a big project of digitizing all of our alumni records. And once we got that project, on its way, we decided that we needed a better way to respond to our records requests. So we went in search, and we're so fortunate to be able to find Scriborder. In, I think it was 2016, we found Scriborder, and in 2017, we were up and running with it to fulfill our high school alumni record requests. The Scribbles team did a fabulous job training all of our high school secretaries on how to fulfill the requests, and the secretaries and all of our alumni had nothing but positive things to say once we implemented that the Scriborder. Bonnie processes record requests for our closed schools, schools that have been closed over the years, and she also assists with training new secretaries on the Scriborder and the Scribbles K12 process. During 2019, we processed over 8,000 alumni record requests.
Wow.
So after utilizing Scriborder for our alumni requests for a couple of years, then we were introduced to Scribbles K12 transfer. Scriborder did a training for our CCS secretaries in May of 2019. I emailed all of our surrounding districts, the districts, the private schools, the charter schools, everyone that we get requests from on a normal basis, and told them we were going to be implementing the Scribbles K12 transfer process as of August 1st of 2019. So from May to August, it was very, very busy. We did a lot of work getting the other districts up, on board with what we were doing. And then as of August 1st, we took a very hardline approach that we would not accept any record requests via fax or any other way unless it came through the Scribbles K12 process. We made a letter that when we got the record request, whether it be from out of state or from someone that we hadn't contacted, that we just sent back to them explaining the process and how they would sign up to request records. I'll be honest, at first we had a little bit of pushback from some of the surrounding districts and schools, but once they created their account, we have had nothing but positive feedback. Everyone has been thrilled with being able to submit a request, track the request, and receive it electronically. So we've had very, very good feedback on it. And we've done, several thousand, as you can see, actual record request transfers for our students.
Wow.
11,296 coming from outside of the district that people were requesting records for, and 5,465 of students who are moving between Columbus City schools. So since implementing Scriborder and Scribbles K12, I no longer feel overwhelmed by my records and my record requests. Even though 109 schools are processing it, with pulling up a couple reports, I can see exactly where we are with our record requests. We can easily track internal records as to where they have been sent by using the record request Scribbles K12. So this has really been beneficial for us. And using the, if I can just interject here as well, when COVID-19 hit and we had to start working from home, it was very nice that we already had a process in place that was electronic for record requests to happen, because our secretaries, were able to take their equipment home and they can process the request from home just like they could in the office, where they don't have to worry about, is a fax coming in? Is the US mail a record request coming in? Because now that we've been doing it for a year, 90% or 90 plus percent are actually on board and know how we do things. And so they just have been sending the record requests via the Scribbles.
That is pretty awesome when you think of 109 schools doing everything the same way so that you have that overall visibility. So, ladies, do you feel like this is how you feel now? A little bit more calm, cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. And our secretaries report the same.
That is awesome.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. We definitely appreciate that and hope that in sharing our story today, we're able to help others that may be experiencing some of the similar challenges to us. So I'd like to start, if we go to the next slide, Ron, just explaining a little bit about the district and the Clark County School District. As the nation's 5th largest school district, serving currently approximately 320,000 students. As you can imagine, we generate a lot of records and a lot of records even for former students. So the picture of that, just trying to encompass what that looks like for a large district and how many requests we could possibly be working with in general in normal operations. The department, if we go to the next slide here, is composed of a staff of about 27 full-time employees. And as a whole, the department is responsible on both the academic and the special education or the confidential record side. We respond to requests from all sorts of customer types, including current or graduating students, as well as former students, corporations doing background checks, post-secondary institutions, and the other entities that are listed up here, as well as K-12 transfers. Something that's important to note is that this wasn't always our staffing situation, and we haven't always been structured in this way, but with the tools that were provided through Scribbles software, we were able to make some of this transition and carve out these different areas within the department possible. So we're definitely appreciative of that and some of the tools that we were given. Our next slide here, we move into the state of emergency that happened. So like many districts in the country, and what they're experiencing right now is the school closures. And for us, this started on Sunday, March 15th, when all K-12 schools were closed. And we know as of now that we're going to be closed at least through April 30th. So for us, this was a bit of a challenge because we went home on Friday thinking we'd be back in the office on Monday. So to have that announcement on Sunday, it was quickly about making plans and how we would address some of our customer concerns. So on the next slide, we had two really important questions about what we were going to be doing. So how do we support schools through the closures, and how do we support our customers with the department being closed, so not being able to take face-to-face. So we quickly had to develop a plan in terms of responding to these two key questions. Knowing that there were certain restrictions in the first few days and getting staff together. So the impact it had on our department is kind of outlined here in the 5 steps that we took to convert quickly to a process that exists that's paperless, essentially. So making adjustments to convert staff to be able to work remotely, working telecommuting, ensuring that we had access to certain records and computer resources that we normally have through our daily operations. Notifying our customers that we had paused pickup and mail out requests, and then working through the process of generating e-transcripts and sending documents to customers that are then verifiable on the blockchain, which I think more is going to be talked about that later. So just being able to continue our operations, and one of that is the greatest tools from Scribbles software there with using Scrib Order and some of the integrations with Scrib Online and the archive that we have as well. So one of the key features of Scrib Order was for us to put up our vacation notice and let people know how we were going to operate in the suspension of face-to-face services. So including in there are how you place a record request, how to access the order tracker to be able to communicate with our office, and then the ability to verify the credentials once they had received an official document from the department, how they could verify that it was an official document and could be distributed as the customer saw fit.